Hey everyone, this is Sarthak from RoadRunnerRacingCo India with Kevin, of course. Today we're here with Stier Racing from MSR IT. Boys, if you can go ahead one by one, introduce yourself, that would be great. Bharat, why don't you go?
All right. Hi, guys. I'm Bharat. We started this team way back in 2016, 2015 when we kind of joined when I started my engineering. And I graduated in 19 and I'm currently working in data analytics. But this thing, yeah, style is like a very special part of me. We started this mainly to ensure that we focus things on design and make sure the other elements also fall into place. But like the way we have developed over time has been really good. Yeah, that's it.
Pranav, what about you? Like, what role do you play in the team?
Hi, so I'm Pranav, and I actually carried over the team from Bharat, and I was the captain for the year 2019-20, during which we participated in two competitions, Formula Bharat and Formula Green, and then customarily I handed over the team to Hassan, and he's in charge of the team right now. So it's a generation of 3 years captaincy, right? Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, Hassan, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Hassan. Currently I'm in third year mechanical engineering, so I have one more year. So currently I'm leading the team of 38 members. So right now we are having we are having video calls and we are meeting. So you know, right, or like what has happened right now. So yeah, so that is how it's happening right now.
So it's super cool to hear that, somehow or the other, y'all are making operations work. What I want to know before we start off into, what roles you all play as a team, how your whole tenure went since we've got like 3 captains here right now. I want to know the origin story of Stier Racing. Maybe Bharat can tell us about that, because I think I read about it. You guys started off in 2016.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty interesting. Okay, so when we started Stier Racing, I mean, there was no visibility I will actually start a team yet. So when I joined my first year, so we had a couple of seniors who had started this team for a Baja project called Prototype. So what happened was in that project, the seniors also, like, we had a lot of issues, constraints with the funding and time, most importantly time. So because of that, the project slowly fizzled out. And I was like, I was actually kind of, I do not know, sad or pissed or whatever, but I was like, dude, okay, fine, let me take matters into my own hands, let me see if I can do something about it. And we had like a couple of guys from our same section itself. We were there and we had same interests. Like, he was also into cars and he actually had a lot of hands-on experience with it as well. And as for me, like, my background, like, I was into cars for a very long time. I think my passion goes way back to when I was like 3 years, 4 years old, and I was following cars. And back then, I think there was no internet and all. Like, this is the Autocar magazine was like the coolest thing, right? Like, my parents and my uncle, like, my uncle used to change a lot of cars, and my parents like used to support a lot of magazines. And because of these, like, my fuel was passion. And the same thing, I joined engineering, and this thing happened, and that kind of ignited the fire in me. And like, let's start this. And just like how initially we thought, what was our name? First name we thought of was apparently Netwo Motorsport, and I'm actually glad we didn't go with it. I like Stier more. Yeah, from there on.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but let's get into the logo and the name of Stier. What does it represent? How did you all come up with it?
Yeah, so what happened was, so once this fizzled out, we were like left with a project where we didn't have any fabrication experience as well. So it ended at the design center. When we started to get this matter on our own hands, we're like, okay, let's do something. And I do not know, that bull was kind of very interesting, and kind of a slight source was that the Lamborghini's logo has that so much passion, or that anger in, like, not anger is a very negative term, but that passion was there can be seen really well. And we started researching and we started reading here and there what logo and all that. And in the summer we arrived to Stier, we started googling bull in different languages. We just realized bull is a nice term, I started googling it in different languages. Stier is like native German for bull. So
Okay.
yeah, that's how we came across the name. And then my friend's dad was into graphic design, and he suggested like let's go with this logo accordingly and like a neat framework, and yeah, it was like a really nice template, like a silhouette, and looks really nice.
Yeah, it does.
So that's like the coming of it.
That's great to hear. Coming to Pranav, since you
Yeah.
actually led the team from 2019 to 2020, the most recent year. So, on the lines of the recent competitions you all competed in, how did they go? Was it your first? Can you give us an idea on that?
Okay, so we did participate in 2019 Formula Bharat and Formula Green as well. But 2020 was a really kick-ass year for us because we in Formula Bharat we were placed fifth, and this was pretty good for a second-year team considering that we are from doing EV, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there were a few problems regarding the electrical side of things, but we had gotten to a place where we knew that we could definitely cross limits from there and achieve whatever we wanted to. We got that kind of confidence in our pocket, and that confidence was therein again then restored to us after Formula Green because we won the whole competition. We won the overall first place in Formula Green, and being a second year team, the judges were very happy with our design. So what we aimed for was that our car, even though it doesn't have exotic things like carbon fiber and stuff like that, it has to be a fully functional and very well designed car. That was our main thing. So that was the fundamental from which we wanted to step our whole story on, and that brought us success by showing us that we can win the first place by concentrating on the details, and we were very happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And since I just dropped off, it's completely fine. But you said before we just started, you said 38 member team, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, how did you all manage to get other kids to like sign up? Because I know sometimes it might seem easy because it's a college, it's an engineering college. There's always people interested, but it's a whole different thing, convincing people to believe in what you're trying to do, competing, convincing them to put in the work. I know a lot of karting teams or e-karting teams who actually work uh, a lot late in the night, right? I don't know if you all have, but yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
yeah,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't even get me
Yeah.
started on that. So I mean, actually, when we started, like we started from a go kart. So we built ourselves up from a go kart team. So our first project, once I told you that Bahar dropped off, we took up the NKRC competition,
mm-hmm.
and that was like a first taste of what an event felt like. We were a 21 member team, and somehow there was some quiz competition, and yeah, that quiz, apparently we won that quiz. I never expected. Okay, so the virtual was in like some deserted part of Indore. It was hot, it's really bad, and all of us had left. We were in there. We're like, hey man, we're not gonna win anything. Let's go. Let's pack off. And then some guy I made friends with there just called up, hey guys, you won. Like that kind of started giving us momentum slowly. Then once, like when I started, I always wanted to do Formula Student. I knew what Formula Student is capable of, and kind of like I wanted to envision that slowly this thing. But the thing there is we needed people. I think without people, I don't think we can make things work. And there 21 people go-kart might sound a lot for a go-kart team, but then we realized every person has value. So slowly we start realizing we need to increase our resources. So when we started Formula Student, right, I think at one point we had 45 active members, 45 active members, and eventually at the end of the event, like at the end of the event, it fizzled out on 40. So that was an amazing task, and our main thing was just like, dude, you want to learn. We are also doing it for the first time.
Yeah,
Let's learn together. Like I was asked, philosophy is simple when you had to get people in, and it was not just mechanical alone. We had people from all other branches. We had people from EC, we had people from CS, ISO, and that's kind of how we got in like a pool of like 40 people to get working in the project.
Yeah,
wow,
and to answer your initial question, we used to have many meets only for this reason. So once you're a team, it's not just about like designing and fabricating, right? So you got to plan for your recruitment. So we know which time of the year the students come in. we have meets accordingly in order for us to get the hands on the best one, because the team's only as good as its people, right? As the teammates. So we did extensive planning on how to, the biggest challenge was how to convey what type of a team we are through posters to so many callers. So we had to sit and plan for those things. We had a sponsorship team. We had a team which would help in this recruitment, and that's how about. I mean, we experimented a few things which might have not worked out, but yeah, we got a pretty good turnout in the end. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic to hear. You all mentioned just now that you all shifted from karting to electric, right? How did that shift work out? Did your college really, back you for it?
Basically, college never interfered with what we were doing. They
wow.
kind of gave us like flexibility to do whatever you want.
That's good.
And they were like, "Oh, you guys are doing it. Oh, nice, good, keep it up."
All
Only
right.
thing they started a little pressure at the end when they started realizing we actually are doing legit job is win us the competition. Come on, go on, push it, win the competition. You guys are good, go on. So that was something like that's when we started feeling the heat from the college. But yeah, shift from go-karting to Formula student was like a really big shift, and kind of like it was also a big hit on my ego as well. I mean, I'm just telling that because I mean, whenever we did the go-kart as an IC engine go-kart, but we shifted altogether to Formula student electric, and I'm really strong petrolhead. I always love cars which rev, make noise, and I think it will resonate to all of us here.
Yeah.
And that shift from there to electric was like a big bump on my ego, but that was an opportunity where we could have a really good chance to like establish ourselves or like prove that we are also equally competent. Because this was like a level playing field where everything's going to start from scratch, and in India that was happening for the first time. With the IC engine part, there were teams with 15, 20 years of experience who are going to get a lot of their heritage and things to the field, right? And with electric, it was like a playing field. Like we had like, yes, man, this is us. We have one chance to prove it, and we took that up. So that drift was like very interesting to all of us.
And also to second Bharat's point, it was not only a shift from CV to electric, but it was a shift from a few parts to inventory, which we had to like, I mean, label with different code names, and because you have that many nuts and bolts and you want to be organized, because money doesn't come free, right? Our sponsors have worked a lot for that money that they're giving us and trusting us with. So we came up with a system on how to organize things properly, how to keep the things like the motor and battery in a safe and good condition so that they can be used for consecutive years and stuff like that. So we learned also resource management and planning, and I mean, we really owe it to the sponsors. They really stepped up and helped us with procuring these components so much. Yeah.
And like everything was like neatly coded. Like each thing meant that we created our own coding system, and that was something nice.
Yeah, I was just gonna get to that actually. Obviously, I think a lot of us, from the third person point of view, what we don't understand that running a karting team or being part of a karting team includes, many roles to be played. Not only on the, engineer standpoint, but also on the business standpoint, like getting sponsors, convincing them. So I want to know how y'all, went about it, and did y'all have help from college, or was it like, y'all went out there in the mud, dirt, and hunted for sponsors? I know a lot of them are like actual part manufacturers. I know they've taken an interest in the whole karting network in India and actually going out and sponsoring teams. So I just want to know the sponsors you all have aligned with. How did you all do it?
So most of this thing was like getting out in the mud and getting a lot of sponsors, because the budget itself was so big and we couldn't. The college like, oh man, you're new, you have no credibility. Why should we think what grounds you have for us to give you something? But at least college helped us out, and like they had a suit, all these like the driver equipment, right? They had it in place, and college supported us with the driver equipment, so we didn't have to go all the way to buy, because the driver equipment also the things we had never factored in, which would actually cost a bomb. I did not know this would cost so much. Okay.
Yeah.
And and that's where college helped in, like at sign you build some more credibility, we will give you more support, but right now this is what we'll give you: driver equipment, build the credibility, then we'll get back to you. Most of it is on the mud. We hunted sponsors, and thank God for Pina, dude. That's an amazing place. And that never disappoints us anytime. So we had a lot of our sponsors from Pina itself, and a couple of sponsors also came via cold calls we never expected.
Oh,
And we just asked them, yeah, we're doing this for the first time, we're a new team and all that. And we never expected that people actually, I mean, I do not know. I was a little cynical about a lot of people,
mhm,
but this project kind of opened a entire dimension. We're like, oh yeah, people do help you.
mhm. On a more, on the lines of being more recent in the 2019 to 2020 years when you broke Toronto, when you were like heading the team, what was the attitude of the sponsors? Like, what do they look for? Like, what do they expect from you when they sign you?
Okay. See, so basically, this is the way that we start every session on sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
We say they're not going to give you your money just like that, right? So even though they're giving you money without money in return or goods in return, they want to introduce who they know is going to deliver. So the presentation that you give them, it can be in a form of a PPT or in form of a brochure or a document or anything that of that sort. But you got to be clear in what you're going to use the money for. They need to know where the money is going, and that's like, I would say, half of the problem right there, because they really want to support engineers. We've got support from Ace Designers and Pina, who have machined a lot of parts for us and machined our uprights for 2 consecutive years. We've got support from Nimble, who bought the whole motor for us. And this was only possible because we were very organized and clear in what we wanted and where we are going to spend their money. If they're going to give us a part, we'll tell them how much it's worth and where we are going to put the part and how it's going to help us, the technical parts, the technical details of the part. But if they're going to give us money, we're going to give them a correct account of where we are going to place the money and for what good reason we are going to do that. So being as much as the how clear you are reflects in how much they want to give you. So that's how we went about it. Yeah.
Just
Wow.
adding to Pranav's point, that's pretty surprising. Like we never expected. A lot of these sponsorship companies look out for like, are you learning anything out of this project? Is it gonna help you? Like you'd be surprised how many companies like, oh, what did you guys learn here? That was your first question in in our initial sponsorship meet. What will you learn here? At the end, after the event when you went back, then like, what have you learned? What is it you have learned? Like that was pretty interesting. We never expected because they're most business people and they're like we start considering them or they start thinking this. But like it's very good of our most sponsors. They were very concerned about what we are learning here, what are the takeaways here, and that was pretty interesting.
Wow. Now I'm taken aback actually. Like actual manufacturing companies, they actually care about what we learn instead of actual monetization standpoint. That's great. Kevin, you got anything for them? Questions wise?
Yeah, it was really good to know about the team and how you function as a team. But I just want to get into the specifics of the design per se, if I may, that is. So yeah, you guys spoke about how you get sponsors to sponsor you, and they even give you the whole motor itself. So do you just guys like put the motor there, put all the electric circuits there, and just bang go out to the track the next day, or do you actually do a little more R&D and testing and what
No,
how does it
because
go
like,
about?
so this whole car that we are building is a coalition of so many mating parts, and when these mating parts come into existence, you got to do a lot of research on the accuracy, the precision of how they mate, and whether there is no interference and stuff like that. So when they give us the motor, a lot of data goes into. We take the data sheet of every zip tag that we use because it's required by the rule book for us to produce a data sheet, and this helps us in a lot of manners because we get to know the weight of the motor, how that's going to affect the CG of the car, and how to plan on the drivetrain of the motor to the differential and the placement of it, calculations of that, and only then decide. And one of the most important parts, like, just because you took motor, I'm continuing with that example, but
Sure, yeah.
a motor has a lot of pull to it, so we need to give proper supports in order for it to be mounted properly onto the car, and we do these things in before we put put the motor into the car or any other component for that matter for it to not have any other. So if you don't do these things, it's gonna like bite you in the ass later. So that's gonna
Yeah,
be a
true.
problem. So yeah.
And another thing is like if you think about an engine, right? You can kind of get a curve out of it. With a motor, it's a little more different. The curve is like it just goes up and just hits flat, and like you have like a
Okay.
flat curve there. It's not like if you've seen any engine curve, it
So you're
increases and
talking
it
about the torque curve, is it?
yeah, the power and torque curves. They
Yeah.
go up and they have a curve, and then once you hit a peak, here it just
Yeah.
from one point it hits a flat curve. Like I mean,
That's
not
nice.
too straight there, but like yeah, it hits a saturation point very quick, and it's just a very different thing what you can think about. And just another thing was like a controller and a motor, right? Like they have a set definitions, but we are putting it on our car entirely new, and the weight, the simple things like the tractive effort also changes, and we'll have to again retune the controller to bring it in line so that we get the enough tractive effort or like sufficient effort for us to make the move. So that was something very interesting for us to take up ahead. And like, even though you might think it's just a plug and play, I mean, initially that's what we thought it was, and it never
Hmm.
turned out how it always is.
Yeah. No, actually, yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. Like, what is the magic behind that instant torque that EV cars give that, gasoline cars are not able to deliver? You get that kick in the pants as soon as you floor it. What's the magic behind that?
Again, so as I talked about the curve, right? So here the point here is the power. There's no delay in the power generation, right? The moving parts are very less in a motor.
Okay.
If you've seen a motor to an IC engine, from an IC engine, if you think about, I'm just being very, very abstract here. The
Uh-huh.
power gets in, the cylinders move, then the cam moves, and then the power is generated, then the power is multiplied, then goes to your gearbox, then it comes out. In a motor,
Okay.
it's very less. The moving parts are very less. So
Okay.
the advantage there is your losses are minimal.
Nice. So that's nice. So you guys get the motor and stuff. Like now in a traditional IC engine. So if I want to make an IC engine go faster, I take off the head, I shave the head, then I port and polish, and I do all that stuff. Is there anything remotely similar or possible with an electric motor as well? Just to
Mm,
bump up that power more a bit.
bump up that power generally like a motor has like a band, like a voltage and a current band, right?
Yeah.
You play with the voltage and the power majorly. Like
Yeah.
again, there are a lot of, I mean, I'm a little rusty on my technicals
Yeah.
here,
No
but
worries.
there
Yeah.
are a lot of like coils now which cause like the flux, and then that causes the rotation, right?
True.
There the easiest tweak you can do is increase the windings. Like if you
Okay.
remember your engineering first year electrical, right? It boils down to
Yeah.
those basics itself. But yeah, again, I'm rusty on this one. What to do?
No worries.
Just like tweaking
Yeah.
the windings or increasing the core. All these things kind of like can help you tweak the motor.
That's
And
You can
nice.
make
also to add some more light to what you asked, in order to generate more power and stuff like that, very another very important component, as you know, is the battery. So the chemistry of the battery can be varied. We can couple a different a battery of a different chemistry with the motor to check if it's better, and it saves weight. So that's always an important aspect in going faster. So we can play around the battery chemistry as well. So that's what I wanted to say.
That's
Okay, that's fantastic to hear from the technical point of view. Kevin's a expert on it.
nice.
We're two hardcore
No, I
heads
wouldn't go.
ourselves as well. Um, I got two more things to ask the both of y'all, kind of unrelated to karting, but more on the automotive enthusiast standpoint, viewpoint. But before that, do y'all have like anything specific y'all wanted to talk about, or y'all
mm,
wanted to share out to automotive enthusiasts?
I mean, if you're okay with it, I do want to talk about the recent shifts in F1. What do you guys think about like the F1 moves and the F1 ahead, and is it
The
gonna go shift into esports?
the dri-
Uh,
the driver market or esports? Because that's kind of dabbling with two different topics. That's it.
Driver market, yeah, driver market is a much more interesting topic according to me, because there's a
Yeah,
lot which happened in a span of a day, and you never expected like swoop, the market moved.
for sure.
So I think yeah, I think
Yeah.
we can talk about the driver market for a couple of minutes if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. A little context on that, because I think Kevin's a little on the surface with Formula One only. So Sebastian Vettel, who used to drive for Ferrari, is out of contract and will be leaving at the end of the year, along with Carlos Sainz, who's moving from McLaren to Ferrari, as well as Daniel Ricciardo, who's moving from Renault to McLaren. To be honest, I kind of lean towards Ferrari. Maybe they're trying out what a couple of other teams, junior teams, are trying, which is get in young talent and see how they perform. I'm pretty sure everyone's looking at Max Verstappen and holding him on a pedestal. Other than that, I think Daniel Ricciardo, good stuff. I don't think he would have really pushed forward in Renault. I don't think Renault's at that point. They're still building as a team. Carlos Sainz, good for him, but pressures which come along with being a Ferrari driver will determine really how he can perform. Because being a Ferrari driver, there are a lot of things. If you really, research and understand what happens in the background of being a Ferrari driver, the prestige of the brand and everything. So yeah, but on a winning standpoint, on the sporting standpoint, was letting go of Vettel good? We'll find out clearly, depending on where he goes or if he doesn't go anywhere and decides to retire. Other than that, if you didn't know, a couple of context before I ask you what you all think about it. The day Vettel left Ferrari, the stock price of Formula One dipped by $90 million. So I think that pretty much speaks the opinion of the public. Yeah. What about y'all? Where do y'all, from a Formula One standpoint, who do y'all support? Who do y'all like?
I mean, I've been into Ferrari since Schumacher's era, so I've been following Ferrari from then. So I have a loyalty to that team. And slowly, based on the drivers who come in, I also start liking or how they're taken up. And Vettel was really good with the team, but I think I don't know, because this is a similar situation when he faces Ricardo in Red Bull, and he was kind of eager and getting out when he was faced with a really good chance. He likes being the number one. He likes being the favorite. But yeah, I mean, Vettel, I think it wasn't easy for them. Tough choice, because Leclerc is not gonna be easy guy to go up against. We saw it clearly in Singapore. We saw it in Belgium. We saw it in Italy, how he's performed in his debut year with Ferrari. And I think Vettel, but I wouldn't want him to retire. I just want him to win another championship with Ferrari at least.
Yeah.
He deserves one more chance, man.
Well, for sure. What about you, Pranav? Who are you?
I'm a big fan of Ferrari, to be honest. But definitely really amazed by the technology that Mercedes is coming out with, and the way their cars are performing are something to be really looked at. They're like the pinnacle of motor racing. And to be honest, there are 20 drivers on the grid, and they have to be extremely special in order to be 20 drivers racing in Formula One. So there is no doubt whatsoever that every driver is really good. But as for making the move from Vettel to Sainz, I think I stand by your point that they need some fresh young talent. He would probably take half a year or a little more than that to get into the car and see what really is going on and handle it in a suitable manner, as would any other driver. But I think it was a good move by Ferrari to do that. Yeah.
Cool. Looks like is the whole Stier Racing team a bunch of Ferrari fans, or you have a couple of Mercedes kids in
We
the
have a couple of Mercedes fans.
Yeah.
Go back and forth. Like that's like one of our meets. Oh, bro! After every race, used to call up and gang up on each other, and dude, see how okay, yeah, Hamilton messed up, or Vettel messed up. Though Vettel messed up was a lot of things recently, but yeah, we used to have a lot of arguments there. We have a lot of Mercedes fans.
Tying the two together, I would like to say that so that's really, really far away from what we're doing. We used to take a lot of inspiration from what goes on there and try to incorporate it into our team and grow as a team together, because few principles that they follow are really noteworthy and very good to propel the team forward. So that helped us. Talking about that helped us and also inspired us to an extent.
Of course, like using that, using them as your North Star, even though whether or not you're actually competing in a little version of Formula One really helps. Another thing, one last thing before we get off, I wanted to ask you is, if you didn't know, we're engineers too. I mean, we went to engineering colleges. Our college didn't have a racing team. So one piece of advice to those watching who are automotive enthusiasts, who really, would love to be part of a karting team, would like to start one. Since y'all are a young team and y'all might really understand the, walking in the, down in the trenches of just starting a team, what are the things they really need to remember before starting one?
Okay. I mean, Bharat is a better person to answer this question, but I just want to put in one point that um, there'll be. I mean, if nobody's starting a team, you might as well go ahead and do it, because I'm telling you from a person who's been a part of a team where we've had many times where we thought that we won't get the car ready, or we can't go to the competition. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough money. But just if you just work together as a team, and I know that this is something that everybody says, but it makes a lot of difference if you pull in people that you know and work together as a team. Then you're just going to like crush those things and get ahead with it. I'll do the rest. Yeah.
A lot of misconception that people think about when they're starting a team is the money factor. Actually, it's not the money factor; it's the time factor always when you start a team. And because that time, right? Like today, tomorrow, day after, you do not know visibility of what's going to happen. Every day, you have to stay there, be there, persevere. Everything you're going to go ahead, and you will may not have support initially, but like I think from what experience I got, like there every single day trying to. We were just shooting arrows in the dark initially. From there, we start getting a direction, and you will still get a direction. And we are always happy to help out any team who's starting new or like need help. We are always ready to help. The thing is, like we also had a lot of help from our teammates who were started at this, and that community like the together, and that's how it slowly builds up. And anything I would like to give an advice is don't give up. You might face it as a difficulty today or tomorrow, but give it time, give it a month's time, give it a month or two's time. You will get there, and you will slowly get people. The thing is, if you stay motivated, like the easiest way to stay motivated is like always think back when you started the team. Go back and think why you started the team. When you feel like giving up, go back and think why you started this. And always that gives you a lot of energy to get going. And it's never too late to start. It's never too late to start. Our go-kart team, though we started in like 6 months, it came to shape in the last 2 to 3 months before the event, right? Like anything can happen overnight, anything can happen in a long time also. So never wait for anything. Like it's your time, you can do it. You always have to make it happen. Nobody's gonna come and give it to you on a golden platter.
Wonderful. What a way to end the podcast, huh? It was really, really nice talking to you all. It was really unfortunate we couldn't have a few words with Hassan. I'm guessing he had like an internet connection problem. For sure, we'll, sit down and talk a little more about stuff in the future. We never even got to Formula E. Uh, so I'm pretty sure you'll have your own opinions on that.
Yeah.
So until then, thank you so much for joining us, Stier Racing. I wish you nothing but the best for the competitions to come. And hopefully we actually meet in person once the whole lockdown's done. Good?
I am waiting to
Thank
meet
you.
people, dude.
Yeah?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Kevin.
Thanks for having
Thank you.
us. Thanks, guys.
Bye.